Now you try it. Pause the video and determine the formula for the following ionic compounds: potassium iodide, copper parentheses Roman numeral 2 sulfide or copper 2 sulfide, copper parentheses Roman numeral 1 sulfide or copper 1 sulfide. To determine the formula of an ionic compound, we need to determine the charge of the cation and anion. We find potassium in the first column of the periodic table, so we know that it has a positive 1 charge as an alkali metal. Iodide is a halide anion, so it has a charge of -1. Since these charges cancel out in a 1-to-1 ratio, the formula for potassium iodide is capital K, capital I. The next example is copper 2 sulfide. We know that the charge of the cation is +2 because the Roman numeral 2 represents the charge of the cation. And sulfide has a charge of -2. These charges cancel out in a 1-to-1 ratio. So the formula of copper 2 sulfide is capital C, lowercase u, capital S. Notice that the formula for copper 2 sulfide does not have a 2 in the formula. The Roman numeral 2 refers to the charge of the cation. For copper 1 sulfide, we know that the copper cation has a charge of +1, since the Roman numeral 1 stands for the charge of the metal cation, and sulfide has a charge of -2. Since these charges don't cancel out in a 1-to-1 ratio, we have to determine the least common multiple of 1 and 2, which is 2. We need 2 cations with a +1 charge to cancel out the -2 charge of the sulfide. Thus, the formula for copper 1 sulfide is capital C, lowercase u, subscript 2, capital S, which means there are 2 copper 1 cations for each sulfide anion for an overall charge of 0. If you need more practice, there are plenty of worksheets available on Canvas.